I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, today we're reading from the book of Romans, chapter 11. Let's focus on verses 11 and 12. I ask then, have they stumbled so as to fall? Absolutely not. On the contrary, by their stumbling, salvation is come to the Gentiles to make Israel jealous. Now, if their stumbling brings riches for the world and their failure riches for the Gentiles, how much more will their full number bring? Now, in today's passage, Paul suggests a quasi-role reversal between non-Messianic Jews, non-believers, and followers of Jesus. And Paul describes how the Lord allows the integrated church, that is Jew and Gentile, to act as his bride, which is a role that Israel believed that they exclusively held. Consider this from Jeremiah 31, verses 31 and 32. Look, the days are coming, the Lord's declaration, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. This one will not be like the covenant I made with their ancestors when I took them by the hand and led them out of Egypt, a covenant they broke, even though I married them, the Lord's declaration. So Paul also repeated this marriage imagery in his letter to the church in Corinth. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 2. For I am jealous over you with the godly jealousy, because I have promised you in marriage to one husband, to present a pure virgin to the Messiah. Now, I want to stress that I'm not suggesting what they call replacement theology, which is a false teaching that the church has replaced Israel in God's heart. A primary goal of Paul's letter to the Romans was to counteract the replacement message as a heresy and contra to God's continued heart and his long-term plan for Israel. Paul puts forth the role reversals between Messianic Gentiles and non-Messianic Jews for two primary reasons. First, so that the non-believing Jews would become jealous for a saving relationship with God through Jesus when they observed God's love and his favor toward the Gentile believers. You see, this godly love was previously believed to be exclusively for Jews. Secondly, Paul wanted to expose how, given similar chosen status, Gentiles can fall into the same religious pride as the Jews, and Paul was dealing with that. In fact, he addressed a growing prejudice against the Jews by the Gentile believers. And this leads us to two obvious questions. First, do you live a life of faith that would make Jewish people jealous for your relationship with God, or anyone else for that matter? And secondly, has spiritual pride caused you to look down upon others to the point where you have forgotten God's grace toward you? There is no personal boasting for anyone who is saved by grace, whether they are Jewish or Gentile. Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 4, when the Lord your God drives the Canaanites out before you, do not say to yourself, the Lord brought me in to take possession of this land because of my righteousness. Instead, the Lord will drive out these nations before you because of their wickedness. We are saved by the abundance of God's righteousness and not ours. So humbly share this good news with everyone you meet. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, Groundworks Ministries operates entirely through financial donations from faithful people like you. And yes, we need your monthly support. Donating is secure and it's easy at our website, groundworksministries.com. You know, another way to help is to tell people about Groundworks Ministries. You can share these podcasts with your friends and family and on your social media. And of course, you can always direct folks to our website, groundworksministries.com.